9603. 800-505-9603. 800-505-9603.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
This just in, Wemby is an all-star reserve. For the first time in his career, the 21-year-old star has averaged over 24.5 points, 11 boards, 3 assists, and almost 4 blocks per game. Speaking of the Spurs, they fell last night to the Clippers, 128-116. They'll take on the Bucks tomorrow night at home. And the Texans, well, they've got a couple interviews coming up.
If you smoke, take it outside.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history! A walk-off home run!
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
What's up, Danger? Can't stop me now.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. Appreciate everybody for rolling through tonight. Welcome in, however you may be joining. I appreciate you joining, whether that's on 94.1 on your FM dial. If you happen to be listening via our streaming at sasportstar.com via the AA Best Bail Bonds audio player, or if you happen to be watching live on YouTube, that's right, we stream all of our shows live on YouTube. Just search SA Sports Star. Go ahead, like, subscribe. You can comment along with the show, or you can just feel free to call in at 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 if you want to be a part of the conversation. Lots to get into. Wemby is officially an all-star. He was named a reserve just a few minutes ago for the Western Conference and will be representing the San Antonio Spurs come All-Star Weekend, not in the Rising Stars Challenge, not in any of the ancillary events like 3-Point Challenge or the Slam Dunk Contest. He is an actual, factual all-star. So congratulations to Victor Wembanyama, the first of what I believe are going to be many to come. Speaking of the Spurs and Victor Wembanyama, last night was brutal for him against Zubats, as the Spurs really ended up getting out physical, which has kind of been a thing when they end up losing in these close games. And earlier this morning on the morning huddle, they were talking about Wemby not getting fouls and just getting out physical in the games.
They asked Wemby about going after Zubac after he got knocked down. Can you play that for us, Vic?
Yeah, here we go.
Frustration, it's a bunch of things.
Do you think you get a fair whistle most nights in terms of people being physical with you?
No.
Hey, welcome to the league. Yes, you're going to have to pay your dues, brother. Well, and you're going to have to pay more dues than most.
And the truth is, he's probably going to end up getting more calls than other Giants get because he is so slight. Like, the way they officiated Yao was almost unfair to the man.
Guys in that time, you got officiated like you were the tall 8th grader.
And
like,
Shaq,
hey, you're huge. You should be able to get away with it.
Oh my God. Shaq, you could hit him with a hammer. And
they changed the rules.
And now James Harden, it's like, well, I got in the painted area. That's a foul.
Well, see, that's one of the things when you came up back in the day and you were a big man, by the time you got to the NBA, you had been beaten senseless for 5 years.
Yeah.
From the time you were in high school, guys were allowed to do things to you that nobody else could get away with. And it was in high school, and then you got into college, and it was the same thing. You guys were allowed to get away with things with you that nobody else would. You big men walk off the court, and you see scratches down their arms and all kinds of stuff that's just goes on in the paint. Well, Wemby doesn't deal in the paint, and that's so there's no way for him to have ever gone through it. And now that he's going to have to do it, he's learning that there's a reason why you can't be, as slight as he is and be successful down there. There's a lot of things that he's going to have to pick up. I love the fact that he was surly post game because I think he's sick of this crap.
Yeah,
and he should be. But guess what? Everybody else
Get used to it, Bubba.
had to go through it. Tim went through it. David went through it. Anthony Edwards went through it. The most recent of the next. You think LeBron didn't get the crap beat out of him the first 3 years in the league?
I mean, LeBron historically in his career probably didn't get the whistle as much as he should have. Like, because they were like, well, he's so physical and he's so big. Like,
go back and look at the highlights when we beat Cleveland 4-0 in that series. We beat the snot out of LeBron.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the plan. So this is just part of the transition from the becoming the superstar. And some of it's him. You're going to have to bow up and be a man, plant your feet and do it. And some of it's his team going to have to stand behind him and pull him and push him and protect him as he transcends to superstar.
It is, and it's fun. And maybe it's a Euro thing. Maybe it's an era thing. But I covered that series when I was working in Austin at the time, and I was coming down here and covering the games, and I remember LeBron, like them asking about, like,
do you think it's fair?
Do you think it's fair? And LeBron was like, "It's the NBA." He's like, I've got to earn my stripes, and these guys have earned. And it's like he was like, yeah, I know what it is. I know the deal.
Well, he came up in Akron. He'd been playing against pros since he was 13. He knew the deal. We're talking about Wemby, who just left Paris. He was the king of the city, man.
Yeah.
And now he comes back, and he's got Zubats pushing him down on a Wednesday night. Yeah, man, welcome back to the league.
Yeah. So you can tell he's not real thrilled about it.
Well, again, I love the fact that he's mad. I love the fact that he doesn't think it's fair, but not a lot of fairness going on in the paint as we chase the playoffs. So he's going to overcome it.
They asked Wemby if does he need to get in the ref's ear a little bit more to get things going the way he wants.
It's a hard thing, to fight because it feels unfair sometimes, but it's. And of course, we talk about it with the staff, and there is some stuff I have to do to help myself. First of all, being strong and not bailing out shots, but also there is some work to do, like talking to the ref, of course, explaining myself. But it's for me, it doesn't feel like it's something I should influence. It's like I'm a basketball player. I'm here to play, and this is this is why it's frustrating. It's not my job to do politics.
Okay, except you kind of are now.
Well, as a coach, you always tell your kids, "I'll handle it. Your job is to play. My job is to talk to the refs. My job is to protect you. Let me do that. You just go play." And that's the way he was raised. And he never had to deal with this, getting beat up. And then you've got the Mitch Johnson factor. You do have a rookie coach who the refs look at him like, you're not Pop. You think Pop calls a ref, they come running. You think when Mitch Johnson's like, hey, come here. You think they're turning and looking at him like, I'm going to run over and talk to you?
No.
And so there's that. So you don't have what he would have had in Pop. Pop undresses a ref listening.
Mitch Johnson does it, and he says,
he's just yapping.
Where's your dad?
Yeah, who what? So there's some of that.
Do your parents know you're out?
So there is a very frustrating part of where I can see where Wemby is right now, because he is getting beaten up and he is getting fouled. But the expectation is, it does not matter.
Let's hear how Wemby feels about this little losing streak that they're on right now.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I think this is I think we're on the way back from our toughest point in the season, and I think we made some efforts tonight to get out of it. So I think we're on the right way. But I mean, as much as I hate losing, losing feels awful, but winning feels so great. So it's let's not forget that it's easy to forget about winning, but it's right there. So we'll get back to it.
Brian says if this is going to be Victor's league, he needs to take it by the balls and show his president in the paint what he can do. Here's the thing, though. It's not Victor's league yet.
No.
And like everyone's so like sometimes we push guys, especially guys who have all this potential. We assume that they're just going to come in and dominate. And there's growing pains, man. And even the most can't miss guys, even if they don't miss, there's real growing. Like think back, just it was 3 or 4 years ago. Trevor Lawrence was the biggest prospect to come out of college football since Andrew Luck. And Andrew Luck was the biggest since Peyton Manning. And Andrew Luck nor Trevor Lawrence ever lived up to expectations.
Yeah.
Like
one by choice and one just physically.
Well, and we assume by choice, but I don't know.
Luck would have. You felt like it was coming.
But, I mean, Luck also played in a Manning-Brady era.
We'll never know, but we did. We felt like that was and that was – so even by your analogy, that's 50%. Even if things worked out at their very best for Luck, you're still only batting 50%.
And these are the guys who are looked at as like, right, you can't possibly miss with these guys.
And, what struck me
which I also remember people saying that about Andrew Wiggins.
Oh, yeah. Well, what struck me last night more than anything else was, there is nobody else on this team other than the mercenary that is Chris Paul to really be the team leader. So everything falls on Wemby. When we win or we lose, we'll hear from Chris Paul, but this is Wemby. This dude, this is his second year in the league. And I kept thinking, Tim, when he got here, he had David.
Yeah,
I mean, he had David to answer why you lose 3 straight.
Which I think is why I think that's why they brought Chris in.
Absolutely,
quite frankly,
to really protect him. But and Chris is a little bit of that. But we also know this dude could be gone in 5 days.
Absolutely,
I mean, literally. So really, we're going to look to Wemby, who he doesn't have the answers. I mean, you're asking him, how's it feel to get beaten up? Sucks, man. What you got to do to get out of it? I really don't know. I mean, this is second year in my league. All I know is what my coaches tell me to try hard, and I need to avoid the politics. He doesn't have that protective, that safety net. And even David had Avery. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but we still had a guy that would step in and kind of take the blame and take the brunt. And David,
you need someone who, when the cameras turn on and the microphones and the recorders turn on, you need someone that people can take a soundbite from, and like. The truth is, without Chris Paul here, there would, like last year, no one cared what Keldon or Devin Vassell had to say because those guys don't carry any weight. Chris Paul, even though he's clearly diminished, carries some weight. And it's deflected a lot from Wemby. And hearing Wemby talk like this reminds me he needs a lot of deflecting still because he's still not anywhere near what he can be. And I still hope he will be. But it is a reminder of he has not taken over this league. He is a work in progress, and if he reaches Charizard form, he can take over the league. But right now, he's nowhere near that.
It's true, and I think Wemby needs help. I think he needs a protector down low. Remember, Tim Duncan always had a protector. He had Tiago Splitter. He had Fabricio Oberto. He had Will Perdue in his early years. Like the Spurs always had a big to protect Tim Duncan. Right now, there isn't one of those on this team. You could say the biggest protector he has maybe is Zach Collins or Charles Bassey, but that's just not enough. You need to get a competent NBA big to pair with Victor Wembanyama. I understand you're going to want to play small ball sometimes, have Jeremy Sohan at the 5, but at times you're going to have to bang. And not all of these guys are built for that. And Wemby, I see people comparing him to Giannis all the time. Giannis, got up to 260 and is yoked up. Yeah, that was over time. Giannis came into the league very skinny. And Wemby is smartly putting on weight. He added 14 pounds this offseason. He'll probably add another 10 this offseason. He will get his weight up. It's just going to take time because you don't want to put it on wrong. That's how big men end up with foot issues. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 941 FM, sasportstar.com. Earlier today on the Blitz, it was fun. A lot of talks around De'Aaron Fox, the trade rumors, what you would give up, what wouldn't you give up. Well, fans had their chance to react on the Blitz, and the Blitz had some really good rebuttals to a lot of these trade ideas. We'll let you hear some of that next. Plus, your own trade ideas. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. What are you willing to give up? What aren't you willing to give up for De'Aaron Fox? As the trade deadline is now less than a week away on February 6th, next Thursday. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 FM.
George gets justice.
No amount of money can make up for a life-changing injury. I'm George Salinas, and at George Salinas Injury Lawyers, our team of attorneys will fight to get you the maximum compensation because we prepare and we care. So if you've been injured in an accident, get George. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers today at 210-225-0909 or visit getgeorge.com.
George gets justice. GetGeorge.com.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey, this is Rob Thompson here for my good friends over at Prize Picks. It is now or never. The big game is almost here. Don't miss out on the last big one of the season. And Prize Picks is the absolute best place to win cash while watching the big game. And I'm talking about serious cash, 1,000 times your money. And it is so easy to do. And on top of that, we've got money for you. Just check out the promos tab to tail any of our super sweet Millie winners. Big game lineups, you can get them. If you tail a lineup that goes 3 for 3, you can win up to $1 million. That's part of the promo finds. That's why you go to Prize Picks. I'll tell you what, you want some cash? Use the code Alamo. You get $50 instantly after you play your first game. That's a $5 lineup with 2 times the money. Let's go play Prize Picks. You've been putting it off all year long, or you've been playing along with the other 10 million. Prize Picks is the place to be. Go run your game.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pleasure. Thanks for joining me. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that great stuff. I am Pleasure. It's I am Pleasure. You can follow the station at SA Sports Star. I love all the interaction on YouTube right now. Andrew San Miguel says Sim Vassell, Johnson, or Shohan and draft picks. May take a combination of those things. A lot of people saying Castle is off the table. Goldfinger says also go get Cam Johnson. They need a floor spacer. I wouldn't be mad at that. And I understand everybody wanting to keep Stephon Castle. Stephon Castle's one of my favorite players. I loved him coming into the draft. I thought the Spurs should have drafted him in the draft. I think his ultimate upside could be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at some point. That's his ultimate form if everything pans out and he becomes everything that he's supposed to be, right? not everybody always becomes everything they're supposed to be. So what's his floor? I don't know. Maybe he's a more athletic Drew Holiday. Maybe in between that, he becomes De'Aaron Fox. Should that preclude you from getting a De'Aaron Fox if he's ultimately what it takes? If Sacramento's unwilling to move off of that because the Rockets are going to give up Jalen Green or Amen Thompson in order to acquire that deal. Because you're not the only one. And I know reading comprehension is hard for some Spurs fans. Preferred does not mean only. The Heat and Rockets are also on his list. The Heat can get a third team involved and trade Jimmy Butler and probably make it work. The Rockets have every bit the draft assets you do and even more young talent when you talk about Jalen Green and you talk about Amen Thompson and you talk about Cam Whitmore. And plus they've got veterans to match salaries with like Fred VanVleet. Oh, and if you don't think they have the draft assets, they do. Remember, they traded Brooklyn their picks back to get Phoenix's unprotected picks from now through the future, next 5 years. That's impressive because Phoenix isn't going to be good for long. That is a team that is built on a 35-year-old Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal was an awful mistake. And even if they acquire Jimmy Butler, he's in his mid 30s. Like, that's not a team built for the future. And those future Phoenix picks will look very, very good at some point. What say you? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Ram, welcome into Extra Innings with Pledge, my man. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Pledge? This is Ram. I had a question for you about the Fox trade.
Sure.
You know, I like De'Aaron Fox. He sounds like a great pick for us just because he's the first big name that wants to come to San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he's the best fit for us. I think the best fit for Wemby is LaMelo Ball. I'd rather trade for LaMelo than trade for De'Aaron Fox. And people are going to say the LeVar circus is going to come with them. I don't think it is.
I
think
haven't
LaMelo
heard of
is tired in Charlotte.
LeVar Ball's name in
Exactly.
10 years.
Exactly. When I talk to people, they always mention LeVar. Like, we haven't heard of LeVar. LaMelo hasn't been in any trouble. So why did they bring that name with him? Maybe it's just from his whole younger career.
All they remember is LeVar growing up when they were all still trying to get into the league. Since they've gotten into the league, I haven't heard of him since Lonzo was a Laker.
Yeah. But anyways, I think we should trade for LaMelo instead of De'Aaron Fox if we're going to trade for a player that's going to help us in the long run. LaMelo is younger than De'Aaron. We know what LaMelo can do, and I can only imagine what he can do with Wemby. He's a better three-point shooter. He's a better ball giver. You know, he just creates more options for us in the long run. And if we have to give up Stephon Castle, I agree with you. Give up Stephon Castle because we don't know what he can be. Yes, he has high potential.
We had the same high hopes for Keldon Johnson after his first year of being the future of the franchise. We've had those same high hopes for Devin Vassell, and both of those guys have, unfortunately, it feels like reached their ceiling. Maybe there's a little bit more growth for Devin, but it kind of feels like those players are who they are at this point.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So that's why I'd rather trade for someone who we know what they can do and grow from there.
I appreciate the phone call, Ram. That's a very interesting addition to the potential trade. If you're going to get someone like that, that would be great. That means Charlotte would have to want to move off of him. And as far as I've seen, there hasn't been any indication of them wanting to move off of him yet. But he would definitely be somebody that I think pairs well next to Victor Wembanyama. But then again, there's not many guys I don't think wouldn't pair well with Wemby. And I like Fox. I know you say he's not as good a fit. I like Fox because he is a guy that can take a game over on his own. He is a guy that can assert his will because Wemby doesn't always do that. And maybe that's the Euro mindset, but there are times where I think Victor should assert himself more in a game as games are slipping away. Like, give me the ball and get out of my way sometimes. Goldfinger123 says Zion, Mr. Pledge. Look, Zion is a hell of a prospect. He's not a guy that I want to mess with. He feels like Kawhi 2.0 at this point. Right now, there's a report that came out today. He's not playing in back-to-backs. Scared of his hamstrings giving out. And this was a concern of mine when he was coming out in the draft, too. Like, there's no reason that somebody that big should be that hyper athletic. And a lot of the times those hyper athletic guys that have that much weight on them, their body gives out on them. And that's kind of been what's happened with Zion Williams up to this point. He could be a great addition, maybe. But Fred V on our YouTube live says he's read that Orlando is also in on the Fox sweepstakes. Yeah, I've heard that too. And Orlando's not a bad place, and they've got a lot of talent that they could also pair up with De'Aaron Fox, and maybe he starts winning there with a very young team. And he's like, hey, this isn't bad. Because, you know, there's $77 million on the table wherever he gets traded. If you wait on Fox, you could lose Fox. Another team can come in, because I've yet to see a player truly walk away from that kind of money that is available to them. They get their trade, they get their money, they get their extension. Maybe later they'll force a trade again. But initially, they're always going to take the money. And once they take that money, it locks them in there for at least a year. Look at Lauri Markkanen. He takes the money, can't be moved until this offseason at the latest. He's locked in for the whole year. Somebody brought up Markkanen yesterday in the chat. Can't do it. Can't trade for Lauri Markkanen this year, because he signed his deal and he's now locked into Utah. Can't be moved. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure. I am James Pledger. More fam reaction from the Blitz, plus John McClain of the Houston Texans with the latest on the Texans offensive coordinator search. That's all coming up here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Friday on the Morning Huddle, a very special edition coming from Las Vegas. Stories to follow.
Yeah, what kind of shenanigans did we get into? And we'll preview the Benavidez-Morrell fight, as well as UFC card coming up and a big weekend of hoops. All that and more. Party starts at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Make it your New Year's resolution to drink better beer. Hopadillo, Love Street, Crawford Bach. There's something for everyone in Carbach's lineup. They're all over the city. You can get it in H-E-B and all your liquor stores. But at the bars and restaurants, always make sure to ask for a Carbach.
Mellow Mushroom has the best pizza in San Antonio. Mellow delivers the best pizza experience with their delicious dough, premium ingredients, and unique flavors. Delivering a higher order of pizza is the standard. If Mellow can make a pizza this delicious, imagine what they can do with munchies, greens, calzones, and burgers. Mellow Mushroom has San Antonio's best happy hour with food specials and half off adult beverages. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
My name is Jessica. Years ago, I was diagnosed with a thyroid condition. I slept all the time, was fatigued, had no energy, and a bad attitude. Now I've lost 50 pounds and I'm still losing. My medications have been scaled back, my emotions are stable, and I have lots of energy. People at work say I'm happy, perky, and my husband says he's not walking on eggshells around me any longer. The Institute for Functional Health changed my life.
Call for your complimentary consultation, 210-468-1891. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up. We can help you save on the right oil for your vehicle. Right now, get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge Full Synthetic or Castrol Edge Full Synthetic High Mileage Motor Oil with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for just $35.99. Visit one of our 6,000 stores or order from AutoZone.com for same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
We can be twinsies.
to
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water, but you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
What's up, football fans? BetMGM is giving you the chance to win up to $250,000 in bonus bet credits. It's all part of BetMGM's longest touchdown jackpot, where you could be able to split the grand prize with anyone else who bet on the longest touchdown of the week. Log into your BetMGM account today and opt into the promo. Then place an anytime touchdown wager of $10 or more on the player of your choice, up to one player per game. If your player scores the longest touchdown of the week, you'll win a share of the $250K in credits. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age or older. This U.S. promotional offer not available in Mississippi, New York, Nevada. BetMGM's longest touchdown jackpot subject to rules. See BetMGM.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are unrestricted rewards credits that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate all y'all for rolling along today. The phone calls, etc. It's all up to you. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776, or just comment on our YouTube Live. Go to SA Sports Star. Go ahead, like, subscribe. You're able to comment along, like Eloy T. Arena. Go get Fox. Don't trade Castle. He's no Keldon. Look, I love I love Stephon Castle. I love him. Love him. You're hoping he turns into De'Aaron Fox. I saw a lot of guys start off really well, and like I said before, I've advocated for Keldon. I wanted them to draft him. I think his upside is beyond everything. I think his ceiling potentially could be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander if everything works out right. But remember, it took Shai a minute to get up to MVP considerations. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Don, welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure, man. What's going on?
Yeah, brother. My name is Donald. I'm calling in to give our fellow Spurs and Antonians a reality check. The roster is closer to the Charlotte Bobcats of 2008 than they are to what San Antonio thinks they have. It's not a team that's really with a whole bunch of superstars or future Hall of Famers outside of Wemby, and I think we just need to come to terms with that. Our best trade chips in like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, wouldn't even be in the league. I think Keldon is a tweener, and I still believe that's a negative term. And he's never really developed into a small forward or power forward. And I know the game is really trying to transition into quote unquote the superpositionist play. But you have a 7'5" guy on your team that's everything, and you're going to have to fill in the slots around him. If you need more rebounding, you have to get another guy that's tall to get rebounds. If you need more shooting and more passing, you got to have a guy that can facilitate move the ball in the offense. And right now we have a lot of young guys on that team next to Wemby that are trying to make their name by hogging the limelight like they were last year. And some of that's faded away this year to a certain extent. But the young talent that we think is going to be the coming up outside of Wemby and Castle, there is none. And I think sooner we get to that concept of reality, on that aspect, I think we'll be a happier and more reasonable team moving forward as a fan base. Because if you're going to do some trading with Sacramento, you got to come to the table knowing that Sacramento doesn't want your players. They want your picks. You know,
Well, they may
no
want one
just,
of those players.
Of course, maybe one. You know, but I'm sure San Antonio's not going to let go of Wemby. You know, but and if they do go to try to get Castle off the list, that's another. That would be a detriment. But if you get Fox in return, I think you can live with that. But however, I do believe that Houston has a better roster of talent and perhaps a little bit comparable pick setup that they could probably poach from. And if I was the Sacramento Kings, I would definitely be calling Orlando. Orlando has multiple players at the same position that are really talented. And that's just talking about the point guard position. You know, they could probably pick up a couple guys from Orlando and still be competitive. If not, set themselves up for a good position to get a couple good picks in the draft next year or the following year. But yeah, San Antonio's got to get past that, man. Keldon Johnson ain't it. David Vassell ain't it. You know, that guy that played for the Baylor that thinks he's Dennis Rodman, he ain't it either. You know, I just think we got to come to terms with that. If you want to throw all those guys in a package deal with their first round pick, know that you're not getting a lot back. You're probably getting one guy and maybe some second rounders. And hopefully that guy is the guy we want. But honestly, I think we might be better served as a team trying to package those three guys in smaller deals for either draft picks or some sort of acquiring a young talent from another team that perhaps may not be in the forefront of what our scope is.
Like a Cam Johnson or maybe a Benedict Mathurin?
Yes, sir. Most definitely. You know, somebody that we can get something that we can, like, it would be a steal, you know, this guy's nobody's really looking at him, a Jaden Ivey, perhaps, you know, something along those lines. Calling up Detroit, calling up Atlanta, calling up DC. They do have some guys on their team that are performing well, but it's an underperforming team, so they'll come to the table. But it's just, I think us trying to pick up a superstar caliber player for a whole bunch of broken toys, I just think is not a smart idea.
Broken toys. I like that analogy. Thanks for the phone call, Don. Call back anytime, man. Yeah, I think there's a reality check. We overvalue our own players and what they're worth. And that is a big, big problem when it comes to trade valuation. And it's how you value your guys. And a lot of people seem to hold more value over a Stephon Castle than a De'Aaron Fox, when in actuality, De'Aaron Fox is the better player. If you're getting the better player in return, then you shouldn't have as hard a time moving on from a player if that's what it eventually costs. That and picks, that Atlanta pick, there's a 14% chance you get the top three. That if that pick falls into the top three of the lottery, there's a 14% chance if you're one of the bottom 3-4 teams that you get the number one pick. And I understand the draft's loaded, Bailey, Trey Johnson, bunch of different players. Cooper Flagg's what you're really going down there for. And you're hoping he turns into like Lauri Markkanen. It's all hope. You are basically wagering on a parlay. Proven talent versus a parlay of talent. If this pick hits and you get that pick and then that player pans out, or if this person develops into like it's like trying to hit a 3-leg parlay when you have money in hand. But if that parlay hits, and that's why it's so hard to walk away from parlays. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star 941 FM sasportstar.com. Fred Casares says, didn't Keldon win a gold medal with Pop in the Olympics? He did. And he wouldn't have been on that team if it wasn't for Pop. It's just a fact. He the only reason he has that gold medal is because he was with Pop. He came with Pop on the team. He went with Pop. He made the team because of Pop, and he didn't get to play. Could have easily been 50 players that made that team ahead of Keldon Johnson, unfortunately. It's the overvaluation of your own guys. And you have to be willing to have a real talk. Would Devin Vassell be starting for another team that was in contention? Or would he be a sixth man on that team? And if that's the case, that's what Devin Vassell is. Jeremy Sohan, I don't think starts on any other team. And Keldon also coming off the bench right now for the Spurs. I mean, maybe a bad team in the league. Devin Vassell's probably the leading scorer on a bad team. And has been on the Spurs. You got to have real conversations about what the talent actually is and why it makes sense for the other side. Because I keep seeing preferred destination. You have all the leverage. Hold them over the barrel with it. Reading comprehension, folks. Preferred does not mean only. Ram on our YouTube says Keldon and Vassell hit their ceiling. Maybe have a little more upside in them, but Vassell probably has a little upside in him left. I think Keldon is exactly who he is at this point. He's lost the weight and he's more explosive than he's ever been. But as a player, I think he is who he is. You need players around Wemby. And if you're going to play this style of ball, you need shooters. And the Spurs currently have no shooters. They don't have any competent floor spacers on this roster. You need somebody that can shoot at 36 to 40% from three. I mean, when Victor Wembanyama and Jeremy Champagnie are your best, most competent three-point shooters, you've got a flaw on the roster. Maybe it's a Bojan Bogdanovic you need to get, but you need to get people that can space the floor for what the Spurs look like they want to accomplish offensively. And right now, you don't have the guys that fit what they're trying to do offensively well enough. And you're going to need an actual big man that can do things in the NBA, scoring and defensively. The Jonas Valanciunas, whoever it may be. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger. You can follow me on all social platforms at I Am Pledger. You can follow the station at SA Sports Star. You can comment along with the show on our YouTube channel at SA Sports Star, or you can call in at 210-656-ESPN 656-3776. When we come back, John McClain joined the Blitz earlier today to break down the latest on the Texans offensive coordinator search, where it's at, who they're talking to, and I'll give you who I think should potentially end up with that job. It's all coming up right here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 FM.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149. Summer or winter, Texas weather doesn't do anything halfway, and neither should your roofer. You need a local roofer you can trust. That is Stevens Roofing. You know, Texas roofs are not designed for freezing weather. When ice and snow melt, water seeps into the little cracks, then refreezes, creating bigger cracks. That means leaks or maybe worse. Don't wait to see what damage has occurred. Call Stevens Roofing today for a free inspection. 210-785-0994. That's 210-785-0994. For Stevens Roofing.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
San Antonio, are you ready? The 2025 NCAA Men's Final Four is coming to the Alamo City. The NCAA Men's Final Four Fan Fest, presented by Capital One, brings fun for all ages. Fan Fest is a sports wonderland of interactive games with celebrity and athlete appearances, giveaways, and much more. Come ready to play April 4th through the 7th at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center. The event is free for kids 12 and under, Capital One card holders, military personnel, and 2025 Final Four ticket holders. Visit ncaa.com/men's Final Four.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a colonial with high ceilings, hardwood floors, and a peaceful neighborhood. And you found it. Now, every Saturday at 6 a.m., you get to wake to the sound of your neighbor's leaf blower. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? HIMS can help. Get started at hims.com/joy. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan Silver Dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Call now to secure 1-ounce silver bars minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the USA. Don't miss out on this special deal. Regularly priced at $49.95, but for a limited time, only $39.95. Save $10 per silver bar. Limit of 25 bars per customer. The more you buy, the more you save. Up to $250 in savings and free shipping on every order. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan Silver Dollar. That's a $59.95 value free. Call 1-800-937-4707 now to secure your 1-ounce Morgan Silver Bars for only $39.95. That's 1-800-937-4707.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hour.
It's Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. If you want to go see Nelly, he's coming to the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo Get your phones ready. 210-656-ESPN, 210-656-3776. You can win a pair of tickets to go see Nelly at the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo coming up this year. If you don't win the tickets, you can always get them at sarodeo.com. Houston Texans have been leaving no stone unturned when it comes to their offensive coordinator search. John McClain of the HoustonTexans.com joined the Blitz a little bit earlier today to break down exactly where they're at with their offensive coordinator search.
What are the Texans going to do about an offensive coordinator? Is there one guy that they're leaning towards more than maybe the others?
Well, first of all, they've interviewed a bunch of guys that haven't called plays before, just like Bobby Slowick. I thought when they fired Slowick, they'd give a proven play caller, and they're not. They're Nick Caley, who has been with the Rams for 2 years, may turn out to be the greatest offensive coordinator in history. But I'm so tired of people who have changed planes in an airport where Sean McVay changes planes, getting great positions that lead to more great positions because they worked on McVay's staff. Because you never know. Are you going to get a Kevin O'Connell? He didn't call plays while he was there, and he's turned out to be great at it. But those other guys don't call plays, and they're not. Bobby Slowick was really good the first year. This past season, he didn't adjust to what defensive coordinators were doing different from 23. He had struggles in the second half when they were poor compared to the first half. So now if you're going to go get another guy that can call plays, get Gerard Johnson, the quarterback coach, who interviewed this week. Gerard's been there for 2 years. He knows everything, everybody. He knows the problems. He knows the failures, the successes, and he gets along really well with C.J. Stroud. Why would you bring in a new person? Now, I would want to make sure Gerard Johnson wasn't going to run the same scheme. The last 3 games, Slowick went to a gap scheme running game instead of the outside zone and averaged like 160. And I'm thinking, well, why didn't they do that sooner? Because the running game has been up and down all year. But the bottom line is they could bring in the greatest play caller in history. If they don't get a great offensive line coach and they change them like everybody else changes socks almost every 2 years, then they're just spinning their wheels. And they got to make changes in their interior offensive line. I see people say, well, they should draft a receiver. Give me a break. Nico Collins was a 3rd-round pick. Stephon Diggs a 5th. Tank Dell a 3rd. Why would you need to spend a 1st-round pick on a receiver when you are not desperate at receiver? You are desperate in your interior offensive line.
Absolutely. John McClain from HoustonTexans.com here on the Blitz. You talk about all the potential offensive coordinators, and, it almost feels a little bit like that Cowboys coaching search. We heard Dion and got shoddy. We heard Chip Kelly going to Houston. That was, and now crickets on that. So I guess that ship has sailed, but is there anybody that had lunch one time with Chip Kelly that could get the job?
It's funny because a lot of things are media driven. Somebody puts it out there, like on Alex Bregman. People are all excited he's coming back. And I think that was Scott Boras last week who leaked that Houston was back in it to try to get Detroit, Boston, or Toronto to up their offer because obviously they're not willing to give him $30 million a year. Neither are the Astros. They have $156 million over 6 years on the table. And I'll guarantee at some point Boras is going to do like he did last year with pitchers Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery, have a short-term deal with an player opt-out.
That was John McClain a little bit earlier today on the Blitz. If you missed any of that interview, you can check it out at sasportstar.com in the audio vault. I appreciate all of y'all for rolling along today with me. This has been a fantastic show, and you guys' participation always makes it happen. Be sure to check on those that you love. You never know what anybody is going through in life. Love all of y'all. Thank y'all. We will see you again tomorrow night right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio Sports Star.